Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about internships. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, what is the best position in your opinion for an internship as a programmer? Well, I would say that the best position would be if you ideally get a greenfield project or something fairly fresh at the company where you are in charge of delivering a specific piece of software with the support, or I mean it's even better if there's a fairly fresh project with a senior coworker. It's not always that you might not get that sort of investment, but that would be a very ideal situation where they have a smaller project or something that's kind of just starting up, where you get to touch all the things, because that's the thing that you should be looking for in internship as much as humanly possible. You want to feel how it feels to work for real as quickly as possible, because it's the thing that is value building. The worst thing that can happen for you as an intern is that they exploit you in some fashion, like they get you to do like these administrative bullshit tasks that has nothing to do with the real actual software deliveries. You know that you're in a bad position or in a bad spot in a company if you're not part of the stand-ups, or you're not part, if you never talk to any of the other software developers or stakeholders. They have no stake in what you're delivering or anything like that. If you are either just doing things that are almost always non-coding related, or like it's just testing things, or things that are not directly some type of variant of what the other software developers are doing, then you are in a very bad position and you should get out if at all possible, because you're basically just wasting your time. You're not learning the craft. You are giving them free labor. That's what's happening, and you're not getting anything back for that. So, in my opinion, the best thing is if you can get to be the shadow a more experienced developer. That's very good. Or if they have some other project going on where they might have something that might not be business critical, or that doesn't really matter if you succeed or fail. Well, of course it's good if you succeed, but where the stakes are not as high as in other parts of the system, that's a very good thing, because if that's the case, well, then you will get the feel for how to build something, and you're going to have stakeholders who check in and make sure that everything works as like it's supposed to, and like you're going to feel a little bit of probably a lot if you're an intern. You're going to feel some pressure from deliveries and time estimations, and hopefully this is the ideal scenario, as I said, that you have someone to ask for help if that's possible. If not, well, then you're on your own and you kind of have to make do without any help, I'm sorry to say. But that is definitely the ideal position. It doesn't really matter all that much if you're doing this at a really large company, or you're doing it at a really tiny company. Because the thing is, this is similar to what I've said a few times when people have asked me why I get requests sometimes for making an introduction to JavaScript, or Frederick, can you show me how to use HTML, or things like that. And I keep on saying, guys, that first introduction, literally anybody, and I do mean anybody, you can go to any website that teaches anything about software development and find anybody to teach you that, because it's all the same content. That's why there's so much of it. It's the lowest hanging fruit. It's the stuff that you going from knowing nothing about it to knowing something about it. That is a very cheap step to educate someone for, and it doesn't really matter if you're getting if you ever watched a video where the title was learn how to learn HTML from a Google engineer or something like that. That's just a PR stunt. It doesn't fucking matter if it's a Google engineer or if it's not my mom, she doesn't code, but if it's Johnny Nobody or Jane Nobody from like a local community college who has more experience than you teaching you HTML, like just to do that basic thing. And it's the same thing with working on your first project. You are so green that literally any experience will be better than nothing. So it doesn't matter if it's at like the highest scales or the lowest scales, because the difference in what you're going to learn is almost nothing. It takes a little bit longer before you start to see like that real, like that knowledge where the place that you work is like the main thing, where it starts to really matter. So you don't have to sweat it so much if your internship is at like a small agency or a gigantic corporation or like a product company or a startup or something like that. Just find a position where, as I said, you fulfill those criteria as if at all possible. You want to be able to work in the fashion that other developers work, ideally with someone who is more experienced that you can ask for help. If you can get to that, doesn't really matter where you get that. So what I want you to take away from this is that the best position for an internship as a software developer is going to be any position at any company where they will give you either a fairly fresh product where you are the one who's driving it with stakeholders and like all the other good stuff, where you have check-ins and stand-ups or stories and so forth, depending on what type of work you're going to do. That's the best thing. On top of that, if you can get someone who is more experienced and maybe shadow a more senior profile, that is the creme de la creme. That's you winning the jackpot. As far as internships go, at the very least, because you want to be involved. That's the first thing you want. You want to get your hands dirty as quickly as possible, because it's the thing that's going to give you experience. It's the thing that is then going to matter if, let's say, for the sake of argument, that you don't get the job at this company. Well, the next job, they're going to, if you got the right skills, if you got the right experience in this internship, you're drastically going to increase your chances of getting a job at the next place. But if they just exploit you and you get to do like these administrative bullshit things, or they have you testing stuff, or if you're not working in the same way as the other developers are doing, in some fashion at the very least, then they're just exploiting you, and you're wasting precious time in a company where you shouldn't really be. Have a great day.